Welcome to VHS Sisters, a nostalgic movie podcast with two actual real-life sisters.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Seisha.
Get into some comfy clothes, grab your favorite beverage,
and come hang out with us as I force my little sister to watch all the movies she missed growing up.
Hello, dear listeners.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to VHS Sisters. I'm Seisha.
I'm Melanie.
Wait, why were you Cockney?
Because I am.
You're like, wait.
Because
No,
I am.
Because I am, mister.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of bad British accents today, probably. So sorry in advance. Welcome to our weekly podcast where I force my little sister to watch movies she's never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And today, listeners, this is a special month that we're getting into. Now we are in February. And yes, as I said at the beginning of season 2, every single month will have a theme. And this theme, per Melanie's request, is
Love Month. Yay.
If you've been a long time listener, you know Melanie loves love.
I love it so much.
Off microphone, she was filling me in on the latest season of Love Island.
UK.
I'm sorry, Love Island UK. Listeners, I don't know a goddamn thing about this show, but she's telling me that there are men and women who are on an island together.
Yes.
And I guess they have to talk to each other and figure out if they love each other. That would be my guess.
Yeah, it's a dating show where I think it starts off with like 5 or 6 single men and women, and they come into the island looking for love, and they have to kind of just go off of instinct and say, you know, this guy's my type. People have types anymore, but some do. They, you know, have to get into a couple, and your couple will, you know, basically like you share a bed together, so on and so forth, whatever. But like as time goes on, you might discover that you're not so interested in being in that couple. Perhaps the person is not interested in the same things you are, or just kind of thinks of you as like an object to possess. Much like this movie we're talking about today.
Sure. Yeah, that was a great segue, actually. I love how you just got right into it. Yeah. I guess as like my payment for forcing you to watch these like super slow British romantic comedies from the 1980s, maybe I'll watch a couple episodes of Love Island.
Absolutely. And you know what? We should do it when it's live. We should watch it in the summer when the US one hits, because last year it was like off the charts of like popularity. It was bigger than like, it was like a sporting event. People, men, women, everybody, we all, gays, theys, everyone, we all showed up to watch Love Island and discussed, you know, on the internet with people. It was just something that really captivated all of us in the summer. And I'm so glad that more and more people are watching it, because it's been my favorite show for like favorite reality dating show for the last, like, I'd say like 6 years.
I wish I could experience joy like that. And I want, you know what, because I get really annoyed. I know people who are just sort of like haters for no reason. And I'm like, well, these people suck. It's like people who like, they dislike a certain kind of media. Now we're getting a lot of backlash about heated rivalry and how it's like this and that or the other. And I'm just like, you can just watch the show or not watch the show. Do you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to like deep dive in it, but it's really hard not to once you've experienced love and joy.
Yeah, I'm just like, I love that we have a piece of gay media that, yeah, no one dies of AIDS and no one gets hit by a car. No one gets hate crimed. And, you know,
no one gets outed either.
No one gets like, no one gets outed.
Yeah. Like, so sidebar, when, I want to say their actors' names, Connor Story and Hudson Williams, but when when Shane Hollander and Ilya are together, like they are at Shane's cottage, which is when his dad, I mean, spoiler, everyone who hasn't seen it, dad walks in to see them. Like in the book, it was more like they were in the act. In the show, they were just kind of smooching.
Right.
And so dad finds out, and that's like his worst nightmare. So that he has to go like confront his parents and say like, hey, this is what's going on. But it wasn't like somebody like caught them like out in public and like put it on the internet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like a public outing. It was very much private. So I think that was, it was very unique. You know, the stakes were there, but it wasn't something where you felt like, I guess you didn't feel so much fear for the characters, how the story was presented in the movie or the show.
I like in the coming out scene in the show.
Yeah.
Shane just goes to his parents' house and he's like, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like
he moved to the city and now he's gay.
He moved to the city and now he's gay. And it's kind of simple. And then they just get right to it. And yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but they're talking through it and it's very like healthy and good, as opposed to the coming out scene in Stranger Things, which we haven't talked about yet.
Oh my God.
It's just like so, and I'm like, why are there 15 people watching Will come out? Like, there's, you know, why is there that other girl from the lab who's here?
She's just like, I don't give a fuck about this guy. Like, I don't even know who's Will.
Who is this guy? Yeah, I felt like it was pretty poor. I know that you were more emotional about that show ending, but
I you know, and I will say that I wasn't offended by the ending of the show. I thought it was pretty good how it wrapped things up, but at the same time, yeah, there were a lot of like plot holes and things of that nature. Sure, because as I've started to watch the documentary on Netflix of how they made the final season, they kind of did a Game of Thrones thing where they didn't even write the finale when they started filming. They just kind of like decided to piece it all together. And it's like,
you can
obviously tell. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, great. But like, yeah, why do we need a whole like 10-minute sequence of like Will coming out? I get that he's like going through a lot and that he is like understanding how this monster operates, which is based on fear. So he's like no longer fearing people finding out his secret, which is that's great. You could have told me that in 2 minutes.
It's all so long and unnecessary, and I just hate it. Here's the last thing I'll say about Stranger Things, because we could have like a whole side podcast about, you know, my feelings about how they really dropped the ball. They have all these writers, right? They have all these people working on the show. You couldn't have written anything better than this. Like, so I think it's just mostly anger, I feel, at how sort of mediocre it was. But here's the thing I'll say is that there's so much in subtext. You don't need to say everything that's happening
right
all the time. And I think I get angry because most modern things, shows and movies, they assume the audience is not paying attention on their phone or they're stupid. And that's what I don't like. I'm like, you don't have to have like 2 coming out scenes. Like, we get it. You're gay. Mm-hmm. All right. You know, there was no big coming out scene in A Room with a View, the movie we're talking about today. However, there should have been.
There should have been several.
Because, spoiler, everyone in this movie is probably gay.
They are definitely all autistic.
I want to hear about your take on it for sure. Yeah. To kick off Love Month, folks, I started off with a real doozy because this is a part of my history, is that I was a weird kid. I didn't
still a weird kid.
I'm still a weird woman with a lot of arrested development. And one thing when I was like 11, 12, 13, I wasn't like, what were like romantic things that kids were connecting to in the 90s. Like, it was so funny. I had a friend of ours brought this up in conversation once. They're like, what, you were never into like Hocus Pocus? And it's like, no, I was watching Merchant Ivory films like this in 1992 or 93. This was like my idea of like romance, watching like British people at the turn of the century falling in and falling out of love. This was my Love Island.
Acting on impulses.
Acting on impulses, and you know what? Looking gorgeous. So yeah, this is like a classic Merchant Ivory film, A Room with a View, based on the E.M. Forster novel. This movie came out in 1985. And I definitely watched this on VHS. Like, this was like a VHS classic. I think my grandma June had it, and I wore out the tape on this one just because like I loved it so much. And I also read, I think, all of E.M. Forster's novels because I was just obsessed with, he had novels that they pretty much adapted all to film. And this movie in particular, it's like watching a novel. It is so like accurate to the book. Like, they even have it broken down like with chapters.
Yeah.
In the beginning, like the little title cards you see.
I love the title cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautifully done. Like all this hand-drawn art. So yeah, I was obsessed with this time period. And one more quick thing, and then I'll let you say your piece on it.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's so funny because in the Cabaret pod, we were talking about time travel. And you'd mentioned you really loved the era of Samantha Parkington and like everything just before Titanic.
All that Edwardian fashion.
This is like high Edwardian. It's like the last gasp of the Victorian age, which you can see in like certain characters' costuming choices.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is so funny. We're starting with this. I didn't even do it intentionally because I had no idea I was like, think about this. This movie is supposed to take place in 1907. This is 5 years before the sinking of the Titanic and before the start of Downton Abbey. That's 5 years before. So like you would have seen, and it's interesting because Maggie Smith is also on Downton Abbey and like all these connections. I was like, okay, she might eat this up a little bit. She might be bored. I don't know.
She's a time traveler, R.I.P. Queen.
R.I.P. Oh God, she's really the best. Yeah. So you've never seen this or heard this, or like, tell me your history with it.
I have no history with it at all. Just to be blunt, I have no history. I obviously know a lot of the actors because this is a star-studded cast.
Star-studded,
but I had no formal like knowledge of the movie, nor have I seen a copy of the VHS. I know the name of it though, and that it is regarded as like one of the great films of the 80s, the good period piece. Definitely a romance, but like in a like coming of age self-discovery kind of way too. So that's all I know of it. I didn't really like have the desire to watch it, but also it wasn't just in my roster. So I'm kind of glad that it showed up today.
Yeah, it's very much like, I don't know how else to describe it, but like a Criterion Collection kind of movie.
Yeah.
And I think that like the first time I saw it, it was, like I said, I think my grandma had it. And then also this was one that was like in our public library in our hometown. It was like on the little library rental cards. And I was like, ooh, Room with a View. And it's just like the famous shot of the end shot of them like sitting in the window. Yeah. All like, backlit and whatever. And I was just like, oh, this looks romantic. Look at her hair. I love this. This is a big hair movie, by the way.
Big hair. And like big hair as in the hair is big.
It's just, there's a lot of it. And I was like, ooh, is that her real hair? Is it a wig? Like what's going? Is it a front? I'm like, they had to with Helena Bonham Carter. I'm like, is that all her real hair? I think
it is
so much. First movie, by the way. Let's talk about that real quick.
Really?
First, I believe, I think like her first major role. She may have done Little Things before, but it was her first major role. It was Daniel Day-Lewis's first major role, and he's just a bitchy queen in this, and I live for him. We'll get into like favorite characters, least favorite characters. I want to hear like what hit with you and what didn't for sure. But basically, I'd also like to like start summarizing things more because I feel like we always just like leap right into like the things we loved.
Yeah.
So I think, well, let's have you summarize it like in less than 30 seconds. Like, tell me the plot of this movie.
Okay, so Lucy and her cousin Charlotte
Right.
go to Florence.
Yep.
To experience a little bit of like life and culture, and their desire to have a room with a view leads them to interact with this gentleman and his son who agreed to exchange rooms.
Okay.
And then they are kind of like seeing each other throughout their stay because they're staying in the same hotel. So they're like in the town square, in the museum. They go on a day trip together. And then the characters separate after, you know, the vacation and somehow come back together through the power of writing letters.
Sure.
And it sounds more romantic this way, but yeah. And then
wait, I'm going to stop you real quick. I love, like, I was like, we have to get Melanie to work on an elevator pitch because you will keep going. I'm like, under 30 seconds.
Yeah, this has been 2 minutes already.
This has been 2 minutes already. I love where this is going, and I'm totally keeping this in. If you had to tell what is the plot of this movie in like 2 sentences, that's tough. I bet you can do it though. What's the most important thing about this movie? If you were the writer of this movie or the producer and you had to like pitch it to somebody,
one must follow their gut when it comes to matters of the heart.
Sure. Yeah. I guess that's the moral of it. Yeah. How I would put it is a proper young woman struggles to follow her heart as she pursues love in turn of the century England.
Yeah.
Does that work? I guess. Sure. Yeah. I mean,
she's pursuing arts as well. You know, she's a pianist, and
yeah, she plays Beethoven, she plays Schubert, all of these like very emotional composers.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's really fierce. Yeah, she's got like, it's the character is Lucy Honeychurch, who is played by the iconic, I say that a lot, but I'm going to say here because she is Helena Bonham Carter. And it's so funny, like right off the get, it's so funny to see her with her cousin Charlotte, who's played by Maggie Smith. Because I was like, sorry, you know, trigger warning, Harry Potter, for those of you who are bothered by Harry Potter content. It's Bellatrix Lestrange and Professor McGonagall traveling. They're just having a fun little side trip, you know, in Italy at the turn of the century. They're time traveling.
Started the evil.
I was going to say they're time traveling witches from the future, and they come back and have a little fun. Yeah. I mean, they're in Florence. It's 1907. It's written as kind of like a comedy of manners. So I feel like, unless you know, like all of the social like stratification that was going on at the time, it would be a little bit confusing. And I remember as a kid watching this, because I love the vibes. As a kid, I was like, this movie's so pretty, and I love everybody's hair, and I love all the costumes and stuff. But I just didn't like understand why was Charlotte so upset in the beginning? Like, they didn't get the room right. This is relatable. We've traveled somewhere. It's like, oh, I didn't get the room. They said I had a view.
Right.
I'm all the way in Florence. Like, what the hell? And then Mr. Emerson, who has his son George in tow with him. Mr. Emerson, who's played by Denham Elliott, who is like a great British character actor. He's very like, how do I want to say, obtuse. He's just sort of like, well, you can have my room. Sure. And I remember at the time being like, oh, that's so nice of them. But like that you just didn't like
exchange room. Yeah. It was just like improper because they've already been in it. And it's like, it's almost like insinuating. It could be insinuating something, but you know, I know Charlotte was really taking it to heart, being like, oh, he's so forward. He's so brash. I'm offended by this.
And Charlotte, it's so funny because Maggie Smith, who plays Charlotte, like the character of Charlotte is very similar almost in a way to what's Maggie Smith's character on Downton Abbey?
Violet.
Yeah. It's like they're both supposed to be these characters that are like a throwback to the Victorian era. And you can tell Charlotte is that way because of like the cut of her sleeves, the way like she's dressed. She's like considered like, I guess, like the poor relative, I guess.
Maybe like the spinster relative.
She's like a little old fashioned. She's very concerned with social niceties. And the thing I got upon this rewatch, it's like, oh, she doesn't want to be obligated to this weird guy. She doesn't want him to think that she owes him anything. And he's like, they say he's like a free thinker. So I think like he would have been sort of like kind of like the March family back in the day. Like they were transcendentalists. They probably read things like, oh, he even mentions like reading Thoreau in the movie. He's like, oh yeah, let me have the Thoreau or whatever. Like they're going through the book. So it's just like, again, this whole like free thinking philosophy that is really warring with the uptight Victorian morals. So yeah, what was your, like, as you started to watch the movie, how were you feeling about it? And like the whole setting in Florence and everything.
It's so funny because I wanted to write a note. Like I fell asleep within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Initially, I took a little nap.
Wow.
I did, because it was just like, so I wasn't sure where it was going. And, you know, obviously they're fussing over the rooms and stuff, but yeah, I kind of fell asleep, and then I woke back, I rewound it and woke back up and watched the rest. But like, as far as like the setting in Florence, I mean, obviously I think it's something that is like challenging to a lot of these people who are visiting, because it's more of a freer country. I mean, at that time, Italy wasn't like revered as this overly like romanticized place. Like I'm sure it was also like a little bit of you know, like, oh, these people like almost talking derogatory towards Italians or things of that nature.
Well, they do bring that up. They bring out both points in this movie, because there are all these British tourists and also expats, like the one Reverend character, he lives there. He's like the Reverend to all like the English people who end up traveling there. So he's like hanging out with them a bit. I think it's important to discuss the fact that like it was just sort of expected that if you were wealthy and English, like you took like your gap year, or you traveled with a chaperone, an elder cousin perhaps, or your sister, and you toured Europe. And that was just like a thing that you did. It's funny, like I made a note that Lucy Honeychurch is very much like Rory Gilmore. Like she's like the OG Rory Gilmore, not just in the sense of like going to Europe and like trying to figure herself out, but also like making a lot of bad decisions. Like you have all these guys like fighting over you. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. What's happening? I can't make a decision. But yeah, like the whole idea of like Italy, Florence in particular, it's like this seat of like art, and there's all these incredible churches and statues, and then they're there to like soak up the culture. And in the boarding house where we first meet everybody, you see all these different kinds of British people who are there to experience Italy. And you have the Judi Dench's character, Eleanor Lavish, who's a romantic novelist.
Love her, yeah.
I wrote a note. I was like, Judi Dench, fucking smoke show, hot, gorgeous, lovely.
Yeah, she you know what, she reminded me a lot of like Pam Anderson, like just like the way her face is like just so dollish, you know, it's beautiful.
So beautiful. Yeah, everybody's there for like to get whatever they want out of Italy. Like she's there to be inspired for her book, and she's like very dismissive. It's so fun. She kind of reminded me of like an influencer. She's like, oh no, I know the real place to go. Put down your guidebook. We want to like experience.
Get immersed. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, we don't need this stupid guidebook or whatever. And
I love drifting around a foreign city, just like walking wherever.
Yeah, no, she's drifting, and she's like, you know, they're getting catcalled by Italian men, and she's there for it.
Yeah, and she's like, smell it. This is a true scent of Florence. And then Charlotte like puts her handkerchief up to her face like she's gonna puke. She's like, oh God, like what is this? It's like cigar and BO.
So yeah, like no one wore deodorant back then, probably. No. Just like stinky dudes in the alley. So yeah, you see, like I really love the Allen sisters, like the two older sisters who have like clearly finally come into some money, or they're just old enough. They're like, we're going to travel all of Europe together. And I'm like, I could see us doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just like
sisters,
just rattling around Europe with like big trunks, you know. I'm trying to think what else.
Why we go to the gym.
That's what, yeah, you got to pick up all that heavy luggage. Yeah. You got to be ready. So yeah, we meet this like we're throwing a lot of characters right away. And like I think the biggest thing we see is that like Lucy Honeychurch as a character, she's like brought up very proper, but there's like a wildness to her that the character Mr. Beebe, who is played by the famous Simon Callow, who is like one of my all-time favorite British character actors. He has such a gorgeous like voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my main thing. Like, as the movie started, I was like, oh, right. Like, British actors, this is why I love them. Like, they sound so good. Everyone's like very articulate. Yeah, he's got this really resonant voice. And he's noticing like Lucy's out here playing Beethoven very passionately. And she seems to be like a very passionate, like young woman, but she's expected to act like a proper young lady and sort of, you know, is clearly like hemmed in by that.
Right.
The author E.M. Forster, who's written a bunch of books, including Howard's End, Maurice, like there's a ton of them. They've all been turned into movies. He's always talking about like social class. He's always talking about like that particular time period when everything went from like proper Victorian to what we now know as the modern age.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always this discussion of like, well, why do we act like this?
Right.
You know, like we don't need to do all this. You know, until like World War I happened and then everything's out the window.
Yeah.
Because literally like that, I say this all the time when I talk about history, but World War I is nuts because it literally changed. If you've ever seen Downton Abbey, it's like they didn't care anymore. That's like why that show is so interesting too, because everything was like parties and acting right and social status. Now it's like, well, everyone's dying. So
right.
could we just care about, so like now we have to beat the Kaiser.
Right.
So yeah, were you feeling the Edwardian vibes and all this?
I was, especially in the costuming and like how ornate and detailed and like almost like a little bit, I don't want to say like dirty, but like some of the clothes look like worn, you know?
Right.
It's not like they went to Mood and just bought brand new fabric and was like, oh, here, we're going to create this new outfit, which I think I saw something on Reddit about like the new Wuthering Heights that's coming out. And it's supposed to just be like, it's a fashion movie, but it's not like historically accurate at all. Like, you know, it's not meant to be, I guess, but it's an art film. But it's just like, okay, you know, there's something to having this historically accurate style captured that just makes it feel so much more authentic. And it doesn't distract you, you know, like it lets you like really sink into the time period.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
As like a historical fashion nerd, I think you can go a couple ways with it. You can either go hard and be so authentic, like down to the stitch, down to like
1994 Little Women.
Like 1994 Little Women, or you can make a choice like 2006 Marie Antoinette.
Right.
There were choices, right? But such strong choices. And it had a very particular point of view where it was like, okay, we're doing high fashion.
Right.
We're doing like how, like everything we know about like haute couture. And then we're going to recreate that era. And that was hugely successful because of that. It's not like, yeah, there are some movies where you're just like, oh, you think you're making a choice, but this is just bad. Also, I can't even talk about Wuthering Heights. Like, it's going to be so bad. I saw a preview for it when I went to go see Hamnet. And I was like, this is going to be terrible. I don't know if I could sit through this whole thing. But
when it's on streaming, I'll pop it on.
Maybe. Yeah, Margot Robbie's just too, I don't mean to be ageist. I mean, she's, you know, a little younger than me, but like you can't play Kathy. Kathy's supposed to be like 18. It's a whole thing. Like she just has money and she wanted to make the movie. Okay.
Sure.
It's fine. Anyway,
I wanted to go back because I kind of diverted a little bit to like the aesthetics of walking around in Florence.
Sure. Yeah.
So when, you know, she's going to the museum, she's like in the town square, she's in the museum. Right. Mr. Emerson approaches her in the museum and he's asking her about, could you talk to my son, this and that? And she's just kind of like taken aback by it. She's like, I'm good, you know, like I'm not really sure, you know, what you're asking me.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at first when he's like over speaking during the tour, which is like so rude.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of Cousin Calm in Dairy Girls, where he just rambles on and on and on. And she's just like embarrassed by it. She's like, don't associate me with this guy.
Yeah. Mr. Emerson definitely has a touch of the tism.
He does. And I mean, it's funny because it's like he lays it on really thick. And then until he gets her isolated to tell her his idea of having her talk to his brooding son. Like, he has his moments of brilliance, and he also has his moments of like rambling and stumbling around, and so he kind of makes an interesting character, and definitely like father-son relationship going on there, because they are two peas of the same pod, I feel.
Yeah, I also think it's funny. You thought they were in a church, but you say it's a museum. I thought that was
I'm
funny.
sorry. I thought it was a museum.
Yeah. No, I think that's funny. It's like, for me, who grew up like going to Catholic school, I was like, this is clearly a church. But you're
it's
like,
just
oh,
so
look at
big and expansive. It's not the churches that I'm used to here.
Right. Yeah, totally. It's like
in Florence, it's a whole nother thing.
Oh, they had money, baby. And they had the Vatican, like, yeah, they had so much money to like make statues and art. And yeah, that's why all these English people, there's a lot of discussion about like going to see art, going to appreciate art. If not in Florence, they go to the National Museum later. It's just like trying to like absorb or like be immersed in art. So that's like an underlying theme. Yeah, it's interesting because Lucy is trying to like enjoy the city on her own, and it's kind of like a shocking thing, right? Like, you should be with your chaperone, but for some reason, like,
she got distracted. She was following Lady Lavish around the town. Charlotte was following her.
Charlotte was hanging out with Eleanor, which is like I remember like when I watched this originally, I was like, I think that Charlotte is lesbians.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting that vibe. I was like, what's up with her? And like, how come like she loves Eleanor so much? But I think it could be that. It could also be like Eleanor Lavish is like this character of like, that's somebody who Charlotte always wanted to be, but she was like uptight. So yeah, that's interesting. So Lucy is left to her own devices, and she ends up like seeing a guy get murdered in the street, which is crazy.
Yeah. Straight up murdered. And then George is there.
Of course, George is there
to scoop her up as she faints.
How are you feeling? We've been talking about blonde men a little bit on this pod. How are you feeling about Julian Sands as George?
I think he's hot.
You thought he was hot?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I thought he was hot, and I loved all of his autisticness. I thought he was great. Honestly, he was like a wild man, but he like again has his moments of brilliance where he's there to catch her and discuss with her, and he knows that she's sneaking off behind him because she's trying to get back on her own, doesn't want to be seen with this guy for probably a number of reasons, especially with cousin Charlotte. He's like, nope, you're not well enough to walk back, wait for me, I have to grab your photographs, they're covered in blood, I threw him out.
Yeah, it was giving, upon this latest rewatch, I was like, he is giving a little bit Love on the Spectrum vibes.
Yeah, well, he then like, of course, later when they go on the day trip to the countryside, he's like in the trees, shaking the trees, screaming, this and that, just like standing there in the grass. Like, what is happening?
He's just vibing. He's seeing how, like, I mean, can we talk about how beautiful, like, not a single speck of AI was used in this. It's beautiful filmmaking, and it's like, you're just like, I think I remember as a kid, like, that's why I loved it. It was like, I couldn't be Rory Gilmore and travel actually to Italy. So it's like, this was like my little travel movie. And I was like, now I'm in Florence. Now I'm outside of Florence. Like, look at this like, everything's so green. Everything looks so like fresh and lush. And yeah, George is like screaming affirmations in a tree. He's just screaming love, beauty, truth. Those are the things that he believes in. And he's just so caught up in the moment, and he's gotta smooch Lucy. He
just runs over to her, sees her, and just plants it on her.
Yeah. How are you feeling about, was that enough love for you? It
was so rushed, I felt, but it was also like, I liked it. She wasn't mad. I wasn't mad for her, It was just like she was caught off guard, obviously. But like, he's been making eyes at her, since they met in the hotel. So it's not like, he has a moment where they talk after he catches her and like all this stuff. And then so it's like kind of building in its own way. Like you said, they don't spoon feed you everything. So it's like, I'm sure there might have been another day of stolen glances, there might have been other things that led to this point, but in the effort of making this movie, you know, it's like, okay, let's just like get to the point where he does plant that smooch on her. And I thought it was nice.
Yeah,
it was nice. She was definitely taken aback though.
It's funny. Yeah, I was like, is this guy being a sex pest? Like, what's his whole deal? But yeah, there was like, I think it's tricky because Lucy is like raised not to like reciprocate, right? And she's supposed to be very demure, although you see like that secret wildness in her and that desire to like act out and be emotional, like embrace emotions. And he's like, George and Mr. Emerson are all like, yeah, just like be emotional.
Just
fine,
do it. Yeah.
Fine. Fuck it. You know, which like goes against everything that like proper British young ladies were taught. So it's an interesting juxtaposition. She clearly enjoys it. She's annoyed when Charlotte interrupts her. Yeah, no, Charlotte is such a wet blanket and a complainer. And I was thinking she's such a funny character too, because like we all know people like this, right? Like people
Oh yeah.
who it's sort of like a running joke. She's always like, oh, I don't want to bother anybody. And she's always bothering people like with her little problems. It's always about like, oh, don't pay any attention to me. Oh, woe is me.
Right.
Know? Yeah, no, obviously they get caught smooching. And that is just like not done. So Charlotte's got to hustle them out. Like now they have to leave Florence like right quick because, you know, she was caught in the act, like doing this naughty, naughty thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brings us to England. And we get to see like where everybody's coming from. And it's like set in Surrey, I think. So it's like, yeah, again, very like Downton Abbey-ish area, beautiful English countryside. We get to meet Lucy's family, and she has like a pretty chill mom.
Yeah.
You know, for the time, pretty chill mom that she seems very close with. Her brother, Freddie, who's famously played by Rupert Graves, who's been in tons of stuff. I don't know if you recognize him from anything.
He looks familiar.
Yeah, he's like a British actor. He's just, that's all I can say. Like he's been in like a ton of stuff. But yeah, so we meet her family. And we see that like after all of that ordeal in Florence, she came back to England and immediately got engaged to
Cecil.
I know. I see his name and I want to say Cecil
or Cecil
or I would say Cecil, but they pronounce it Sissel, like the grass, like Sisal.
Yeah.
But who's played famously by Daniel Day-Lewis in his big screen debut, I think.
Yeah.
Who plays like, how would you describe the character of Cecil?
A different type of neuroses, you know. It's like he's very, I would say, OCD, overly proper, probably fits in better with cousin Charlotte than Lucy.
But he hates Charlotte, and he even says so.
Oh, he does, but it's just like their mannerisms, their you know, his style, his lifestyle is very. I'm not gonna say that he's not a dandy, right? He's not like.
I think he is. He's like a fop. Yeah, he's a fop. I would call him a fop and a dandy for sure. Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, like the way he's dressed. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Every single man in this movie is gay. 100%. Even the straight ones are gay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
even
a little bit.
George
the spectrum.
George, right. Like again, there's no black or white or whatever. George, even like when he's horny for Lucy, like I have to say, he also gives off a little bit of a bisexual vibe too. I feel like Cecil is one of the gayest straight men I've ever seen in my life.
Lavender Marriage.
It's super lavender. And I think that just happened all the time. I mean, it still happens to this day, but like back then you didn't have a lot of choices. No. And so, yeah, just like that he's described sort of like as a prig. He's so snobbish. And it's so funny because he'll frequently, like his character, he'll like call out other people for being a snob, which is so funny because he's like so rich. He's like the most, and it's so fun. And like when you meet him, they're like, oh, sir, what is your profession? Because even like landed gentry, even like rich people then had a profession, like whether it was like, I don't know, get into being, a landowner or whatever, like whatever rich guy job that you had, even if you were getting your inheritance, like you still had to have like this veneer of being like a respectable working man,
right?
I think. And he was just like, oh yeah, I have no job.
Yeah. Nepo baby.
He's a Nepo baby and he doesn't dream of leisure. Well, how do you say it?
I don't dream of labor.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's so in a way, like he's a very punchable character, but he honestly, he kind of so he's very cunty. That's what I wrote. I was like, this is a pretty cunty character.
He definitely, I think he reminds me a lot of like an old boyfriend I had who was, he definitely has Asperger's, but like the way that he would, and that's not a derogatory thing. It's just for real.
Wait, that's so funny. I didn't know that.
It is. Yeah. So like the way he's walking around holding the book like on his fingers and stuff. It's just something that made me think of that. I'm like, yeah, he is 100%. He's got something.
He's got something going on. Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this movie is really taking a turn. I was like, all right, so how does she get hooked up with this guy? There's like this whole mix up because there's like a house that has to be rented in the town. And Lucy's like, oh, remember the Miss Allens? Like they needed a place. I'm going to write a letter to them and get them to be the tenants. And meanwhile, Sissel happens to meet the Emersons in a museum and he's like, oh, it'd be so funny if we got these fucking rubes in here. Do you know? Like
right.
He thinks he's playing like a very funny joke on this landowner, the guy who's renting the place. He's like, he's basically like, that's his idea of like,
punked.
He's punking that. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Sissel's really like Bam Margera, he's really
or like Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry. Didn't Bam Margera also have like a
well, he was part of the Jackass crew, so it's like for him, it is pranks and stunts, whereas like Ashton Kutcher's Punked was more of just like a pranking sort of only like hidden camera prank.
At some point, well, you'll have to do, maybe that's for a Patreon video. You'll have to break down early 2000s pranking and punking culture.
Low key, I think we need to create like a TV podcast to talk about shows that we love or like get you to watch some shows.
Yeah. When this is all played out, when I've made you watch every fucking good movie, good and or bad movie. We're going to get to some bad movies this year. Don't worry. But yeah, we're talking about cinema lately.
We are.
So yeah, no, Sissel's a little prankster. He's just like Ashton Kutcher, but like he's out here wearing a white suit. He's got his little pince-nez
glasses. Yeah. Too funny. And when he goes to smooch Lucy, it's just like they get in the way and
yeah, it's
so clumsy, so bad,
so awkward. And that's the thing too. Like she's engaged to this guy because she probably thinks it's the right thing to do. And he's showering her with attention, but like he's, they're already engaged and he hasn't kissed her yet. So he gives her like a little peck and it just makes her flash back to getting like French kissed in a field by George. And she's just like, oh, wow, that was nice, huh? But it's like, it's done in such a quick flash. I don't think she herself understands like what love is.
Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was thinking about, I'm like, why, as I was watching this, I was like, why was it important for me to show Melanie this movie? And I was like, it's not because we were talking about Love Month. And I was like, well, what is love? I was getting very like philosophical about it. I'm like, is it
getting very twice with it?
Yeah, I was like, exactly. What is love? I was like, what is love? Being smooched in a field by basically a stranger? Is it getting a little smooch by a pond? What is love? But I think I was thinking in terms of romance. Like I would call this a very romantic movie, but not in the sense of like romance, like getting like a card on Valentine's Day, but like romance in the sense of like romanticizing your life.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's really like what does romance mean? And like people use that phrase a lot, right? Like I'm romanticizing my mornings.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm like, you're like, what does that mean to you in this age of wellness and, self-improvement?
Ooh, to romanticize?
Yeah. Like how would you romanticize your like if you wanted to add these little sparks of joy as we all like slowly crawl through this fascist winter of hell.
For me, it's like adding little sprinkles of adventure, like going to somewhere new or going somewhere that's like something that involves my interest, like a bookstore that I've not been to, or a restaurant, or, you know, maybe even going to a health club where they have a sauna and just like sitting and enjoying the warmth and feeling the contrast of the icy cold air and just taking moments to like notice the little things in life, you know? That for me is romanticizing my life.
Yeah, like noticing details, not just sort of like rushing through, like really, I think slowing down is romantic.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this movie felt romantic to me, even though I think some people would watch this and be like, oh, this is like slow, right? And it's like you're noticing, for me, when I watch it, I'm noticing like the rustles of the movie's quiet. Like there is music at some parts, but you hear the rustling of the fabrics, like their trains on the carpet when they're leaving the room,
the grass,
the rustles of paper, the nature noises. I'm just like, that's so lovely. I don't know. I think it's lovely. And I think that's very romantic too. It's like, oh, right. Like walking in nature, swimming in a pond with your friends.
That's called back to Emmett Otter, you know, looking at the river.
Yeah, looking at the river. Maybe you jump in the river and or pond nude with your friends.
Yeah.
Which is the straightest thing you could ever do. Yeah,
but also the gayest.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think every
which I love.
I love that. No, I'm not saying this in a derogatory way at all. I think every single man in this movie is gay in some way, including George, including Sissel, especially Mr. B.
Especially Sissel.
Sissel's so gay. And Freddie, her brother is, I'm sorry, like George moves into town. So that's the whole comedy of errors or comedy of manners thing. Like, you know, the guy who Lucy smooched ends up in their town and now it's this forced proximity thing.
Yeah.
Right. So he moves into town with his dad and Freddie's like, oh, who's this new guy in town? Meets him and is instantly like, do you want to come have a bathe? Like instantly.
Like, let's be my friend. Let's be friends. Yeah.
Instantly this golden retriever energy. Like, hey, I like the cut of your jib. Like, there's a pond in the woods. Do you want to go get naked?
Yeah.
Like instantly. And I'm like, the fact that like, Lucy's own brother was like, oh, this guy's hot. Whereas her actual fiance, he fucking hates and lives to annoy him. And I was like, this is also a shout out to sibling culture. And like, if you didn't approve of like who I was dating or vice versa, it's over. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you have to be down.
You have to be down 100%.
Like you have to go through the sibling test.
That's why I don't date anyone.
Right. Cause you know, no one will ever please me.
Yeah, anyone, you can still send your resume to the VHS Sisters Gmail if you want to get approved.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We haven't talked about that in a couple episodes.
It is Love Month, so we should bring it back up.
Y'all, it is Love Month. It's February. We're in the middle, like I said, fascist winter. It's hard out here. We need some love for Melanie. Even if you just want to drop her like a non-creepy message, like compliment something nice. I'm asking that for my sister. Can you and not her physical appearance, maybe be creative with it.
Sure.
I don't know. That's all I'm saying. That's we're going to shout out Love Month. Yeah. Let's go back to this pond scene real quick.
Lots of dick and cock.
So much dick and cock. Yeah. I was like, when do you ever see like male flaccid penis bobbing around in a movie?
Not often.
Not
often enough.
That's what I'm saying. You always see tits. Like
boobs, butts,
boobies and butts. But yeah, even on Heated Rivalry,
no shaft.
No. Sorry. Shaft is such a funny word. Yeah, we're Heated Rivalry season 2. Can we have some shaft, please?
Let's see it. Even if it's fake, it's fine. Like, just put it in there.
Yes, even if it's like
we didn't even see he has a dildo, right?
He in Heated Rivalry?
Yeah, he discusses it. It's so brief in the show. You must read the books.
I did read the books.
But
I mean, I read that book.
I mean, he mentions it and he says like, oh yeah, like, because Ilya's like, well, have you ever done anything with yourself? And he's like, well, I do have that, you know. And he's like, oh, okay. So then he talks about it. Like he brings it up again, being like, oh, where is it? Like he was looking for it. We didn't even see it.
Yeah, I think showing an actual dildo or actual, as you say, what do you say, dick and cock? Shaft. If we see that dick and cock, it kind of like puts it in a different rating system, which is hilarious. Going back to Room with a View, that I think this was PG.
Oh.
Yeah, this is why. Here's the thing. This is back to Stacia lore. Me renting this at 12 years old from the library in our little town.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, I think maybe this stuck with me because this is the first time I saw full frontal.
You're like, whoa.
I was like, what's that?
What's that?
Hello, nurse. Yeah, it's just interesting because they're like rolling around in the grass. They're like rolling like bum over tea kettle. You see like all their twigs and berries, as Austin Powers says. And it's pretty funny. And it's like, yeah, you just get this very like, I think about this all the time, like what a culture of men England was. And like these men running everything and how there are all these social structures. It's like, oh, playing cricket together, going to all boys boarding school, pub culture, soccer clubs. Like there's all these like institutions or places for men to hang out. And I'm like, you know, they're looking at each other's dicks. You gotta sometimes you touch it and it's fine. Now and now we're back, whatever. We're back in heated rivalry, you know?
Yeah, it's a crossover.
This is okay. Yeah, this is maybe
honestly spinoff. Rewind this whole timeline, get to where Freddie and George hook up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is my fanfic I'll just change the names and then I get my heated rivalry.
There you go.
Success. Do you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, it's a great little scene in this very like peaceful movie. We get a little fun.
And of course, George runs out across the road fully nude and interrupts Lucy, her mom, and I forget. Oh, Freddie was with them.
No, well, Freddie.
I'm sorry. Sissel was with them.
Yeah, I love that Sissel is so socially awkward. He just starts like he just starts like cutting through like the grass. He's just
like, we're gonna divert the path. We're not going along this route. You know, we're gonna go this way, ladies. I'll save you. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, no,
so cringe.
He's super, super cringe for sure. So yeah, at this point, yeah, like Lucy's like, oh my god, George is in town now. He's friends with my brother. He's unavoidable. And he's just like hanging out at the house. And this whole time she's like, I'm super in love with this other guy. Don't bother me. But they're all outside like playing pickleball together.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like, I mean, you get to see Lucy, you know, obviously someone who was put pressure on to be this proper young woman. I mean, she's still a big sister. You know, she has, her family that she likes to get like rough and tumbly with. Like they play rough, they are competitive, but they also are kind of sweet with each other, like with her and Freddie like at the piano, both like singing songs and like looking at music together and just like being a normal brother sister. And you can see how Sissel does not fit in with that at all. And Freddie's just like, oh, like, this guy's annoying, and she wants him to play tennis with him. He won't do it. And it's just so fucking funny. Like the subtle comedy in this movie is so top tier.
I think so too. And I like that like the Honeychurchers are kind of like a normal family. Like they're maybe a little bit more, it reminded me a little bit of like the dynamic between the Bennetts and Pride and Prejudice. Like clearly the Honeychurches have money, but they're not like snobby like Sissel and his mom are, right? Totally. So it's like it's again that sort of like difference in like, even though they're considered like upper class, they even mention it too, like Sissel and his mom, she's like, she has that like that Honeychurch taint on her, so like they're more country. Right. And yeah, like you said, Lucy grew up wrestling her brother. There's like a little scene where she's talking about the pond with Sissel, and she's like, yeah, I used to swim here naked too, you know? And it's like, oh, she is kind of like wild and rough. And like they see, is that something to be like, that has to be trained out of her.
Right.
And like her and her brother and her mother all love to sing like these comic songs. It's like, I think you picked up on that. Like every family has its own like little jokes.
Yes.
Like, oh, we all sing our silly songs together and this is our family dynamic. And like, yeah, if you're not down with that, you're not in the family, my dude.
Exactly. You can see your way out.
Yeah, exactly. And I love like I love the character of Mrs. Honeychurch because she's just like talking about Sissel later in the movie, and she's like, why must he spoil everyone's pleasure? Like that's a line that she says, like, why, like, yeah, like why do you have to come here and like make a face?
Yeah, you can be who you are, but don't judge us, you know, like.
Yeah, like he straight up leaves the room when Freddie's like playing a stupid song on a piano. It's like, bro, like relax.
Yeah.
You know?
Tone it down.
Yeah, I think it's great writing and it's great like characterization, and you really see that difference between like the people in the British upper class who were just trying to pretend like they were better than everybody, and then just like there were just people also who had money who were just like normal,
right?
You know? So there were like levels to it.
There's levels. Always levels.
There's always levels. So yeah, I think like the big turning point towards the end is like during all this when like everybody's hanging out together. And there's this book by their old acquaintance, Eleanor
Lavish.
She's got her New York Times bestseller out, her brand new novel, which I guess Freddie picked up at the bookstore. And Sissel's reading it because he thinks it's funny to read bad books, just sort of how like we read bad books.
Yeah, or watch bad movies. Yeah.
Or watch bad movies. And he basically reads out loud what happened, the scene to Lucy and George in front of Lucy and George. So she's like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And she realizes that, yeah, Charlotte blabbed basically and told her bestie Eleanor about what happened in Italy, even though they were not, both of them like swore each other to secrecy. So Lucy wouldn't be ruined. So yeah, were you living for that part?
I was actually, because I'm like, it made me go back and question Charlotte's relationship with Eleanor a little bit more, being like, you know, maybe they're more than just friends and all of this stuff. And honestly, I kind of love it. You know, I'm like, this is a great book. I'm already interested in it. But it's just so funny how Sissel's reading it and he's being so judgmental or like just like doing it in a joking manner.
Right.
She's like, this is my life.
Right. He's making fun of it. And he's like, oh, yes, it's so like funny to read terrible stuff out loud. And initially they're all into it, but then they're like, oh no, he's reading about us. How awkward.
Mm-hmm. Right in front of them both.
Yeah. And I think it's like, yeah, you really see like Lucy start to lose her mind. And then she's like, well, now I got to tell George off. And actually I'm going to do it while Charlotte is in the room. And, you know, she was, for me, again, I'll say it again. I think she's really having a Rory Gilmore kind of moment.
Yeah.
She's just like, she doesn't know. I mean, she knows what she doesn't want and she's trying to work it out. And she just knows like she can't love this guy. Oh, and George like also steals another smooch in her backyard.
Yeah. Which I love.
Which you did love that.
Yeah, I was like, get it. He's like telling her, no, this is because he just fits in with the family so well. It just makes so much sense. And just for her to kind of like come to her own realization of it just takes a little bit longer. So, and it's funny because Cecil just walks up like not far behind them right after it happens and is just so distracted with the book.
Yeah, no, he's in his own, Sissel's like in his own world. He's not paying any attention to anyone. Yeah, but like Lucy has to tell George to scram and because she's over it. And she's actually so like, yeah, I think at that point she's just like, you know what? And also I'm going to break up with Sissel because he won't play tennis with my brother, which I thought was so funny.
Well, George kind of gave her the spiel too of like, you know, he barely even knows what a woman is, let alone how to love one, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah. I love that speech.
Like, She probably was like, oh shit, he's right, you know? And then she's like, I can't just like wind up with you right away kind of thing. I need to go be my own person. I need to get rid of this guy. I'm still not done discovering who I am. And so,
yeah, there's a lot of discussion about like fated love, which I thought was interesting.
mm-hmm.
And, you know, they talk about that a little bit. They're like, because the one, I think it's Mr. Beebe, the Reverend, who says it, like, it talks about like, oh, you guys just like the same things, right? So you end up in the same places. And like, yeah, you all like Italian art. You were looking at Italian art. So was Sissel. And so that's how you got connected. And George is like, I just think it's fate. Like if love is fate, like he's very much like if it's meant to be, like he believes that like the universe moves in this like mysterious way. Like there's this power that is called love,
mm-hmm.
and it moves us closer to each other. I think that's a very romantic idea.
Yeah.
That's like a huge idea that like there's the one for you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how I feel.
Like maybe there's no God and like Christian God. And that's the thing too about the Emersons. They're very kind of atheist in a way. Like they're very down on like churches and rules and like the rules of men, but they do believe in the power of love. So I feel like you can, you're here watching a show that's about an island full of love.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
I love it. And I love. So yeah, anyway, Lucy's freaking out at the end and she's like doing the thing where she's like, I'm gonna break up with you. And then I'm gonna also break up with you. And when she breaks up with Sissel, she's like basically parroting everything George just said to her.
Yeah.
Because she's like clearly working out her thoughts. She was like, she seemed to be like, oh, that sounded good. I'm gonna just say it to you.
Yeah.
You know, and then she's like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll go contact the Miss Allens again, and they're going to Greece. I'm going to jump on that trip.
Yeah, I'm going with them. See ya. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Honestly, like now, like looking out at the sky where I'm living right now, I'm just like, yeah, Greece sounds pretty fucking good right now. What do you think?
100%. Let's go. I'm ready.
You want to go to Mykonos like right now?
I'll go anywhere. I'll go anywhere.
Like an island in the Mediterranean where there's cats everywhere. We can have fish every night for dinner.
Yum.
Or maybe we just go to like a Greek restaurant this week.
Oh yeah, that's a good compromise.
I think so. That's what. Yeah, it's fun to eat out because you get like a little chat. You watch a movie, a dinner and a movie.
Yeah,
honestly,
dinner and a show, baby.
Dinner and a show. What more could you want? Yeah. So Lucy's like, I'm gonna go to Greece with these old ladies because I don't want people thinking that like I just dumped my fiance and I'm gonna go end up with this other guy. She's very concerned about like what other people think. So she's like going to deny her own feelings to the extent that like she'll ruin her own life just to like show what's the term? She'll like cut off her nose.
Self-sabotage.
That her inner saboteur is talking to her, and it like takes basically like she has to like the ending is so funny because like the chapters are broken up. She lies to this person, she lies to that person, she's lying to her whole family, and like everyone just doesn't understand why she's being such a dumb idiot. And yeah, I guess like as a first time watcher, you did this last time with Silence of the Lambs. You can summarize the end of the movie. Like how does it all turn out for our hero Lucy?
So she discovers that the Emersons are going to be moving away.
Okay.
So she goes to chat and see who's there. You know, hopefully George is there, but he's not. So she talks to Mr. Emerson and he basically just tells her that the uniqueness of love and all these things, he's like bringing up all these concepts to her and she's like thumbing through a book and kind of makes a decision. Does she see, no, I've already forgot the end of the movie. How does she run back into George? Like, how does that happen?
Run back? I don't think she runs back into George at the end. Like they have their big blowout at her place where Charlotte is like basically witnessing it, because I think Lucy wants to like have witnesses to like this whole day. She doesn't want to be alone in a room with George because I don't think she trusts herself. And then she kind of like runs through, you know, her whole family. She talks to the Allens, and then I don't think she like runs.
Well, doesn't Charlotte go to leave and because George comes back because he has to like help them move, right? And like in a week's time, he said, or something.
He has to come help his dad move, because his dad is like over living
the rheumatism has got him, you know.
Everybody in this movie's got rheumatism, okay? No one can sit on the cold ground because your joints are gonna hurt.
And so I think like he comes back through the train station or something and he's on a bike and he kind of like, or maybe that was in the middle. I'm sorry. I'm totally thinking of something else. That's like when she misses her train stop to get to her, I'm assuming her aunt's house.
Yeah, Charlotte comes out to visit because like her house is they mention like, oh, Charlotte has plumbing issues. Oh, poor cousin Charlotte, we got to bring her over to stay. And Lucy's like, don't invite her, she's gonna ruin my time. So yeah, that was in the middle.
Yeah, she runs into him, but then like at the end, so I guess she kind of decides or whatever, and then I think it cuts to where they're in Florence again. No, am I not? Making this up?
So like the thing that like changes everything at the end, like I said, Lucy's going through all of her drama about like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to Athens, and her mom is, I'm going to go to Greece. And her mom is even like, I don't know what the fucking problem with her is. Like she keeps like, she's clearly like losing her mind.
Yeah.
She's dealing with all that. And then they happen to stop back in at the Emerson's house. First, Charlotte is talking to Mr. Emerson. And that's like a big change for her character because she was just like, I thought this guy was crazy. And like, he has a heart to heart with her. And so basically Charlotte, who was kind of like the bad person, or the, not a villain, but just sort of like, she was like cock blocking Lucy the whole time. Right. I don't know how else to say that. She basically was. What's the female equivalent of cock blocking?
To block?
Yeah. To block that puss.
Yeah. Well, she's puss keeping instead of gatekeeping.
she's out. Charlotte is puss keeping. And so yeah, they both have like Charlotte and Lucy both have heart to heart with it's actually Mr. Emerson. George isn't even there. Like that's the thing. It's Mr. Emerson, like he sort of created the awkwardness in the beginning. And it's almost like with these conversations, he's just being like super real. He's like, you love my boy, like you love my son. So it's like, there's so much like family in this movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like very old fashioned in the sense that like they themselves don't make it happen. It's their community.
Yeah. The
family really like, it's like the support system around them that supports their relationship. And that's the thing. It's like, you realize, you do kind of need the whole family on board. And that's the thing, like in the end, Charlotte's like, I think you need to go talk to Mr. Emerson because he has something to say to you. And you need to realize like what's in your heart the whole time, which is like a huge turn for her. And then it's like, it's really quick. Like you just see like now Lucy's happy because she's going to go tell George.
Yeah.
She loves him. And then the next thing they're back in Florence. And that's it.
Smooching in the window, which I love.
Yeah, it's a pretty like iconic ending at the end. Yeah, they're reading a letter from Freddie and they're back to the beginning. It's like a very like
cyclical move. Yeah.
It's cyclical. Yeah, it starts basically at the same pensione.
Yeah.
Where they started. And it's just like a lovely little wrap up. Yeah. Was this enough love for you for the start of?
I think so.
Love month. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all types of love too. It's like family love, obviously romantic love, love of the arts.
True. Yeah. True.
And so I was definitely thrilled with it, and I will go ahead and give it my rating. I think I'm going to give it an A.
You're going to give this an A. That's incredible. Wow. I thought you'd rate it a little lower, but because you did fall asleep.
The first few, I had my heated blanket on too. In my room, I put the red lights on, which was like my first mistake at 6:00. Put the red lights on. It's like, it's time for bed.
Yeah, nighty night. Yeah, it's kind of sleepy. Like I said, this movie is about as close as you get to like watching a novel because it's pretty much if you do ever choose to read the novel, it's pretty short. It's like pretty much word for word down to like the chapter titles, all the dialogue. They have to trim a little bit, but it's all there. Like
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you were assigned this for an English class, you could watch the movie and probably pass a test on it and you'd be fine.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just realizing that a lot of things in Love Month are costume dramas. So if you're down for more of that, we can do that. We'll do at least like one more. We might mix it up. I don't know, but I got a lot of romantic movies.
I love it.
I guess if maybe I'll just trust my choices and give you a lot of period dramas to get into. At the end of February, we're going to have the answer to the question, what is love?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Guys. Go watch Room with a View.
Go watch Room with a View. Melanie loved it.
I loved it.
I'm shocked. But so far we're 4-0 this year.
Yeah.
Everything I've shown her, she's loved. No stinkers so far.
No stinkers.
Just us. We are the stinkers.
I showered it this morning, so not me.
I did too.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, no, we had a bathe, as they said.
Yeah, we bathed.
That's it for this episode. So we'll see you next time.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of VHS Sisters.
We hope you've had a fun and cozy time.
Please consider liking, leaving a review, and following us on your podcast platform of choice.
If you'd like to chat with us, please email us at VHSsisterspodcast@gmail.com.
Love you. Bye. That's it.